Come back to our session. SOAP is an XML based protocol for exchanging information between web services. Okay, as you know, the main feature of web service is as it is independent of platform and language. Like one web service which is built on Java can talk to the other web service which is built on .NET. Okay, this is, they can talk with the independency of platform and the language they used. Okay, but how they communicate? So as I discussed in my first class in web service introduction, the communication happens between an application and the web service in the form of SOAP protocol. Okay, so this is not only the way to have a communication. You can also use HTTP methods and REST architecture. But in today's session, we are just focusing on one of the protocol which is used to exchange information within web service. Okay, so SOAP is one of the XML based protocol, and it helps us to transfer the data between the client and the server. Server in the sense is a web service here. Okay, so it stands for Simple Object Access Protocol. So basically it is an XML file. Okay, underlyingly it uses an XML language to form a SOAP message. Okay, so when you want to transfer something from a sender to receiver, basically you write a SOAP message. Okay, that SOAP message is underlyingly use XML only. That's the reason I am telling you that this is an XML based protocol. So what is protocol here? Now, again, a protocol is it says that some set of standards. Okay, while sending an XML message, you need to follow some set of standards which is recommended by W3C. Okay, that's the reason we are telling one kind of protocol you need to follow when you are sending something to web service. Okay, so that's the reason I am telling it as SOAP is an XML based protocol. That means it is an XML message with a kind of standards. Okay, in that particular message we will use all our related data which you need to send to your web service. Okay, so as I said this is a communication protocol, and it provides data transport to the web services. All this comes under same line. Like it uses a communication to talk with a web service or a transportation of your data. Okay, so let's see what is the structure of the SOAP message and what standards you are writing to write the SOAP message. Okay, let's have a look into the SOAP message structure. And if you are in last class we have discussed about web services description language, right, WSDL file. So if you are not follow up that, go back to the site and check it for a WSDL introduction video. So in that video we have seen calculator web service description. So let's see how can we write a SOAP message to send information to the calculator web service, right? Yes, let's start. And I also says that SOAP enables client applications to easily connect to remote services. Like we have a client application and we want to connect to the remote web service. Okay, SOAP will enables us with a kind of messaging, so you can connect to your web service, right? So as I said it is an ordinary XML document, and it has some elements. Like you need to follow some set of standards to develop a SOAP message. Okay, and finally you will send this message to the web service, right? So example, assume that before I take on these concepts, like what are the standards used in a SOAP message and what are the elements we are going to use. So let's take one scenario as an example and then we'll start the discussion on this. So as you know that in last class we have seen that there is an add operation. in the calculator web service. Okay, so now I need to invoke add operation. Invoking in the sense I will send the parameters like two integers, 2 and some 4 and 5. Okay, and I will invoke the add operation in the calculator web service. So what add operation does is it takes the SOAP message, and in the SOAP message you will provide the information which two integers has to be added. For example, you will provide 4, 5 in your SOAP message and you will send it to the web service. Okay, then web service interprets your SOAP message and it will understand that yes, this is related to add operation, and it will invoke that particular add operation in that web service, and it passes the two parameters which you sent in the SOAP message to the add operation, and add operation will execute and some will be written, and again you will get back that as a SOAP response, again in the SOAP message format only. Understand here, there are totally two kind of messages. One is SOAP request and other is SOAP response. Okay, you send a SOAP request message by giving all the information that which operation you need to invoke, for example add, and for that operation what parameters you are going to send. I will say that add operation and 4, 5 are the integers I am passing. So when it reaches the web service, calculator web services interpret your SOAP request message which you have sent, and it will come to conclusion that yes, this belongs to add operation and these are the parameters which you need to send to the add operation, and it will invoke the add operation successfully and it will give the result as 5, and that output again it will wrapped up into a SOAP response message, and that response message again will get to the client side. Okay, so that's how web service and you can communicate with the web service by using SOAP message. Okay, now we are going to see how to develop a SOAP message with these operations and parameters, and what are the structure, what kind of protocol you need to follow to develop a SOAP message. Okay, that's what we are looking today, and it's very simple topic, and I'll explain you what are the basic elements present in the SOAP message. First is envelope. Okay, this indicates the start and end of the message. Okay, everything was written in this envelope tags only. For example, okay, so all the SOAP related message was written in these between these two tags only, like starting tag and ending tag. Okay, so whenever web service finds the starting tag of the envelope, so it assumes that I am reading the SOAP message, and whenever it finds an ending tag, it also assumes that yes, the reading was completed successfully. Okay, that's what I have written here, so that receiver knows when an entire message has been received. So whenever it sees the end tag of envelope, then it comes to conclusion that it has successfully read entire message. Okay, so that's what a SOAP message. So as I told you, it is a root of SOAP structure. Okay, it is the first tag which SOAP message starts, and it is a mandatory part for a SOAP message, because web service at other end will start and end interpreting your SOAP message based upon this envelope tag only. So this is a mandatory one, right? Yeah, there is one more tag also present called header tag, and this is an optional, you can provide information. For example, the message which you are going to send is authenticated, and you will send a username, password, so that after going the web service, web service will see that password authentication, and if it finds it is accurate, then only it will process the SOAP message. Some kind of additional information about set of standards and additional functionalities, features you can mention in a SOAP format. Okay, that I will, what information actually you can write in the header, that I'll teach you later, because there is a concept called web services extensions. Okay, there is a WS security and some things are there that I can't teach you right now, and some additional functionalities we use in this header. Okay, and this is an optional, you may or may not use this, right? And the one more one is body, and this is a mandatory. Here is the where you write your actual data. You can see that it's a mandatory element which contains application defined XML data, like application related, like add operation, parameters, that what all the information we will present in this body tag. Okay, and this must be in envelope. Okay, so if you write out of envelope, then SOAP cannot process it, a web service cannot process it. Okay, and it should be followed by header tag. So header is optional, but if you are using the header in your SOAP based message structure, and body should follow header tag, and this is in this tag we will write our actual information. Fine. And fault, last one. Okay, you can use this tag again as an optional by telling that if web service is not invoked due to any reason, or the operation in the add operation is not successfully invoked, or it has thrown any error. So if you want to know that, you can use a fault tag and you can send a related error message, so that when a web service is failed to invoke, you will get your SOAP response as a fault message. Okay, you can see that here. When an error occurs during processing, the response to a SOAP message is the SOAP fault element in the body of the message. Okay, once you get the response, SOAP response after web service is processed, if you find a SOAP fault element in the response message, that means your web service is failed to invoke or to fail to process your requested data. Okay, that's what a fault is. Generally we will say it as SOAP fault. So whenever you get response as a SOAP fault, that means you have failed to process your operation which is present in the web service. Okay, so this is very important, SOAP fault. Okay, and we'll use it effectively. And body, that's mandatory. Without that, there is nothing to write a SOAP message, because the actual information we place in a body. And header is for additional information and additional features and functionalities. This is an optional, and I cannot right away tell you that what information you use in header, because you need to have some more knowledge on this before I take this. This will come under my last modules, like web services extensions, where I discuss about this tag. But as a beginner, okay, this is an optional, and you will learn it future in our course. And envelope, as is a mandatory, and it's a root element, and it starting and ending tag which makes web service to interpret your SOAP message. So that's what, these are the elements present in a SOAP message, and you need to follow this structure. That means this kind of protocol, this kind of standards you need to follow to develop a SOAP message, so that web service can successfully understand and